Oh, wait, are we going to be dancing? Well, hello, and welcome to IHKC Live. Apologies, we are actually running a couple minutes behind because Cynthia, executive producer of IHKC Live, and we were just chatting. We got distracted. So we're going to now continue that conversation for all of you in front of a camera right here, webcam. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lauren Conaway, and I'm the founder and CEO of Innovate Her KC. Innovate Her KC, we are a leadership community serving women and gender minorities across the Kansas City area. And we have a focus on low barrier to entry and inclusion. Everything that we do, that is the lens that we apply, and we offer professional development, social connection, mentorship, championship, and resources. And we do it with a lot of joy. And so today, Cynthia and I were kind of talking through some things that we could discuss. And we were talking about the holidays, and we were talking about goal setting. And I don't know if you know this, but Cynthia Fails, aka the Joy Sherpa, is one of the most intentional individuals that I know. And she is excellent at giving it advice, and she is excellent at galvanizing people into doing incredible things. And so we're going to have a conversation about that, doing it intentionally, setting goals, determining your fluid forward trajectory. We're going to talk about doing that with joy, doing that with intention, ways that we can do that. So I'm going to go ahead. I saw Cynthia. We were dancing because that's what we do whenever the countdown music plays. But I'm going to bring her up now. And then I saw you walk away for a second. Then I was like, oh no, she just got something. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just grabbed something.
Sorry, I feel like
I feel like you need to explain the sunglasses right now so that people understand what's happening.
Like, okay, we have it's like a whole vibe. I'm just super hungover. No, I'm really not. So my office, I have windows with blinds that face me, and we always have this scheduled for exactly the time that the light shines right into my eyeballs, and it kind of sears them, and it super distracts me. Hi, Max. So yeah, like I'm trying to save my corneas, and I look like I should be in Top Gun while doing it.
I just felt like we need to clarify because
yeah,
this is the first time you've come in with the shade.
But like it's like every time I move, it like flashes in my eyes. So I'm just trying to mitigate that.
Lean this way.
You can say that, but like Cynthia, you know that I am an expressive talker. Like I'm not going to do that.
I know. I had to try.
You have to set realistic goals, Cynthia. Is that right?
True. This is true.
Goals. Know thyself. Yeah. All right. Such a maverick. That's true.
That's right.
What's up, Goose? How you doing? All right. So, Cynthia, how are you, darling?
Mm-hmm. I'm doing.
We both look pretty cool today. You look cooler than I do. Yeah.
It's got to be the hoodie. My Earth is Ghetto hoodie.
I like it. Well,
hey, Antoinette.
Hey, Antoinette. This is just going to be one big old party. I feel.
I think so.
All right. So, Cynthia Fails.
Do you want the quirky questions first or no?
Well, oh God, that's right. Quirky question. I'm just bad at life today.
This is going to be the best episode ever.
We're going to do quirky questions, something that we do every single IHKC live. I just forgot.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
First question. What's your favorite midnight snack?
See, for me, it changes the time. Like, it just kind of depends on what my mood is and what we have in the house. I gravitate toward chips and salsa a lot. Mm-hmm. But that's not just like a midnight snack. I will eat chips and salsa all the time, every time until it's gone and not in front of my face anymore.
I
So,
get it. It makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. How about you?
Grapes, hands down.
Ooh, oh, you see, you have such a healthy choice, and I'm not even
Sometimes,
surprised.
sometimes,
Yeah, no,
sometimes it's cookies. Usually it's
wait,
grapes.
is it green grapes, purple grapes, like any particular?
Whichever grapes we have at the time.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
interesting. Good to know.
Yeah. Next one I'm really curious about.
Ooh, all right.
The best costume you've ever worn to a party.
Ah, okay. Uh, so I'm not I as much as I love Halloween, I'm not actually big costume wearer. Like that's not my vibe with Halloween. So
Uh-huh.
I was Juno one year, big pregnant belly, skirt over jeans. And what's funny is like, so I was like 20 or something. So I'm just sitting there like with a pregnant belly, smoking cigarettes, and people are like, "What?" So that was kind of
I
funny.
dig it.
I do have a dream costume that I'm going to tell you about, but I haven't done it yet because it's going to be expensive as hell. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. But I think it's hysterically funny, and I can't wait. So, some people
Let me
know
get a hint.
I have a weird fascination with Nikola Tesla. Like I find him
Okay.
so interesting and brilliant. And so I have this dream of doing a couple's costume with Aaron where I am Nikola Tesla and he is a giant pigeon. And I really want to do the pigeon wings with like real wings and make them super cool. And so I haven't done it yet because I'm like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And so like that's my dream costume.
It's coming. It's coming. I can't
It's
wait to
coming.
see that one.
Yeah, like I mean, it would be fairly easy. Like, but yeah, I just think in my head it's really, really funny. And Aaron's just like, okay. He loves me a lot.
Next said the Goblin King. Oh,
Nice.
yes,
You
that is
mean the
definitely a
labyrinth
missed
starring
opportunity there.
The labyrinth starring David Bowie's Package. Very nice.
No.
Like seriously, it's just like oh, this movie is for kids.
I got to go as Whitley Gilbert from A Different World one year.
Oh my
Complete
gosh.
with the accent. I had the accent and everything.
And everything you were talking all
It
the
was
time. Oh my
hilarious. It was
gosh,
so much
that's amazing.
fun. Yeah.
Can you do that again? Can we go to a
No,
Halloween party
absolutely not.
together?
No. That's a one and done. We're checking that off. We're
Fun.
checking that off the list. All right, last question.
Okay.
Who would you choose as a fictional friend?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I
You're
don't
gonna
have an
have to
answer
answer
to
this
this, by
first.
the
I
way. I'm
usually
just
say
no, I don't have an answer to this for myself. I'm just curious. Maybe
who
we
would I
post
choose?
that to the crowd.
Hold on. I have like just a metric shit ton of books around. I'm looking for inspiration because the first thing that I went to was Anne of Green Gables, but I
Uh-huh.
feel like she would be super high maintenance as a friend. And I'm like, surely there can be somebody cooler out there. Like, who do I know from fiction that has a plane or a
Why don't
hot
we
tub
do
or
this?
cool? Huh?
Noodle on it, and then we'll
Okay.
come back and answer in the comments after the live stream.
Stick a pin in it. All right. I'll take it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, because I don't have an answer to that one.
Okay.
All
I don't
right.
think you're allowed to ask quirky questions and then we don't answer them. Well, all
We're
right.
gonna answer it later. Just
Okay.
not right now.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
So so that was fun. Be sure to share your answers to the quirky questions in the comments,
I love
mostly
reading
because
those.
I am just curious and
Mhm.
I find these really fun. Uh so Cynthia,
Yes.
I'm gonna turn things around on you just a little bit because we actually had a conversation about this IHKC live and we're like, I was like, I don't know what to talk about. What should we talk about? And you came in with this
Mhm.
topic. And I'm curious as to your reasoning why. What were you thinking?
Yeah, we're talking about being intentional about creating what we want 2025 to look like. And I feel like we don't necessarily plan as far out for 2025 as we could be doing. Even now, to me, this feels late starting for 2025 planning, but we have a golden opportunity to set the stage for what we want life to look like. So why not design it with wild
Yeah.
abandon? Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that we kind of touched on, and this is not going to be a political statement, I don't think it's any great surprise to people where my politics tend to lie, but that's not what this is about. But one of the things that you said that really struck me is right now we are at a time of great upheaval. And there are many, many people out there in the world who are hurting and who are frustrated and who are sad and scared and feeling helpless and alone. And so, one of the things that you're extraordinary at, and one of the things that you mentioned that really resonated with me was like, we're not, we have an opportunity here to not just goal set, but to do so with intention around where we're at right now. Like, how do we respond to all of these negative emotions and all of these bad feelings that we might be feeling? And so, can you unpack that for it? Because you said it. You were the one who said it, but
I mean, that sounds right.
yeah, and it sounds like something I would say.
It sounds like something I was.
Well, it felt really profound, and I know that you say like 10 profound things a minute, so it
I
probably
don't
didn't
know
really
about that.
mean much to you, but to me, I was just like, huh, that's really true. So can you
Yeah,
unpack it for us a little?
yeah, I just think in order for us to really move forward, you have to be honest about where you are right now. And you have to accept where you are right now, even if it's not where you want to be. To get where you want to be, embrace where you are right now, in the here and the now, and take whatever steps you need to take to move forward. You can't take those steps if you're trying to jump ahead to the next. Like each of these steps fall in line in perfect order, the way that we need to follow them to
Yeah.
go from where we are to where we want to go. So, yeah.
So as someone who is really, just so y'all know, like if I like love bomb Cynthia on these things, it's because I really, 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 really love Cynthia. Like you're my hero, babe. And so I'm curious, as one of the more kind of I talk about this all the time. You're extraordinarily self-actualized.
Mm-hmm.
You are really, really good at drilling down deep into what makes people, and even more specifically, what makes you tick. Like I think you
Yeah.
know yourself really well. But then beyond that, you're really, really good at finding ways to integrate who you are into what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm very, very curious when you say, like, first you have to know yourself. How did you come to know yourself?
I credit my parents with helping me figure out along my childhood journey who I am. Once I got out of the house, that was tested over and over and over again. But what I found to be true throughout the entirety, and I didn't know this as a child, but my values, my core values have stayed intact. So for me, for anybody, as long as you know what your core values are, if you don't know, you can still figure that out. That will drive everything else that follows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, what are your core values?
You want me to tell everybody what my core
I mean,
values
if you feel so called. If not, I'm happy to share mine.
No, creativity, integrity, freedom is another one of my core values. But then honesty is also one as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Does that feel
And
true to
that,
me?
yeah, that
Yeah.
feels right. That feels right and righteous and true
Yeah.
about you. So I'm doing this EMBA program, and we have to do a lot of values exercises because I do genuinely
Hmm.
like we're learning. I would never be so arrogant as to say that I haven't learned anything. I've learned a ton. But I think that one of the really powerful things about continuing education in this way is that I actually have a lot of opportunity and space to reinforce what was
Hmm.
already known or maybe what I suspected. And
Right.
there's a lot of, I guess, freedom in the opportunity to kind of sit down and really think through these things. And so we've been doing a lot of values exercises. And so mine are curiosity is number one with a bullet,
Hmm.
community, inclusion, integrity, and joy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm,
And I like those. And those words, those concepts feel really, really good to me. But
yeah.
then what I think is really interesting is once you know your values, and I know my values, you know your values. And I imagine that many folks playing at home probably know theirs or have an inkling. Incidentally, feel free to share those. We would love to hear them in the comments. But how do you go from an understanding of self to putting that out into the world? How do you express your values beyond just saying this is what I am, or this is my core?
That question is really big, and let me noodle on it for a second.
We're gonna stick a pin in that one too. Okay.
Yeah, no, because I'm trying to think about for me, and so understand that I have a background in education and a background in coaching. And one of the things that I was coaching the coaches on was how to pull information like this out of the students that they were working with, right?
Yeah.
And there is this idea that or this concept that what you think drives your actions, and your actions will impact your relationships will impact your results, which then confirm the original thought. We call it the results cycle, right?
Yeah.
So if I am aware of my values, if I know, and I didn't mention equity, if I know that equity is something that I'm passionate about, the opportunities that I'm going to be looking for will automatically align with those things that I hold true in here and that I hold true in here.
Yeah.
Everything just finds a way to sync up. And I'm trying to think of a more concrete way to say that, but I'm having trouble.
Wait, I got one.
I'm having trouble
Ready?
in the moment finding it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Also,
for
we
those
have
of you
some
who
core
don't know,
values coming in.
so I know I do see these, and like
Mhm.
honesty, authenticity. All right, I'm gonna take this off. Nope, that's not gonna work. Uh, so one of the things some of you may know this, I'm pretty open about it, but I am an addict in recovery for almost 22 years now, which is insane. But one of the things that I had to very, very early on kind of do as I was trying to figure out what my life was going to look like moving forward, because what it had been previously was not where I wanted to be. So I had a therapist, and he handed me a piece of paper, and he was like, "You're a writer. Think about what you want. Think about who you want to be. What does that mean? How does it manifest? But write it down." And I literally have this little piece of paper in my wallet, and I've carried it in my wallet for 22 years. It is, I barely take it out because I'm afraid that it's going to disintegrate. But I decided that I wanted to live in integrity. And to me, and I think we've talked about this before, but to me, integrity means congruence between thought, word, deed. If I believe something, then I have a responsibility to say it out loud. If I say something out loud, I have a responsibility to attach an action to it. And that, because otherwise it's just performative, right? Like you're just like, I believe this thing, but I am in no way proving, showcasing, illustrating anything. And so that's kind of my lens, that integrity piece. And that's kind of how I live my values. You know, I can literally track back actions, things that I do in my day to day, and I can see like, oh, that illustrates curiosity. You know, oh, Lauren, you're getting your EMBA. Well, that's because I want to continue learning, and I want to absorb knowledge constantly. Like that's my thing, you know. And so like finding ways to physically manifest the things that I think and the things that I feel and the things that I say is really, really important. So that's kind of how I approach it. But I think everybody's going to be a little different. And I certainly do not wish that you have to go through rehab in order to have the time and space to think through that stuff. That's why we're talking about it now.
That's why we're talking about it now. Bree said this convo is confirmation. She's been having these with her clients. I love that. Rebecca said, love this. I think core values are the most important part of building a personal and professional brand. I couldn't agree with you more. Max, their core values are authenticity, community, autonomy, and expression. That absolutely aligns with what I know about Max.
I see that so hard, Max. I'm just like, oh yeah, every single one. Check.
For Rebecca, they are honesty, authenticity, stewardship, hard work, and love. I love those. And Kiana said, she's added some to the conversation that we were just having. You start with small truths that align day to day. And when your self-trust grows, your confidence grows to stand in your values more and more. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Also,
well,
hi, Kiana.
I think you and I both know that Kiana does that. Like we see it demonstrated every day.
Regularly. Yeah.
I love
Very
it.
cool.
Ooh, ooh, and there's Alicia McDougall, who incidentally, just major shout out for legacy-inspired HR solutions, led a phenomenal GEW
Yes,
workshop.
she did.
Worth it.
Yes, she did.
So if just wanted to note that and say that if you are looking for HR solutions, assistance, frameworks, guidance, I mean, the woman's brilliant.
Yeah,
Please talk to Alicia McDougall. She can certainly help you out.
absolutely.
Yeah. And thank
Authenticity and
you.
respect. I like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dig it. Dig it. All right. So, you know your values. You kind of know how you want to lead with life.
Mhm.
Talk to us about that goal setting piece. 2025 is scaring the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Is
Like
it?
it is.
Well,
It really
let's
is.
pause there for a second. What's where's the angst?
I don't know. It's on several different levels. Very personally, I don't know what to do next. I'm
Mhm.
coming up at the end of this program that is hopefully going to open some doors and provide some opportunities. You know, IHKC is kind of in this weird transition phase that I don't really know what to do with it. Like
Mhm.
I love Innovate Her KC more than any single person on this planet, and I will fight anyone who tries to tell me different. I love this community, but I don't always know what the next step is because when you're stewarding a bunch of people, like you have to deal with competing and conflicting interests and ideas and like people, and so I'm just there's a lot of ambiguity right
Mhm.
now in where I'm at, and I don't always do great with ambiguity. Like it's not my favorite place.
Mhm.
So that's number one. And I mean, I think that there are many of us out here in the world who are really frustrated by some things that are happening societally and, you know, really scared about paths that could be taken or ways that our world could move. And so, I mean, there's just a lot of, I don't know, I have a lot of angst
Mhm.
around what's going on. I mean, how about
Yeah.
you? You always seem so like peaceful, but
Yeah.
I think in my head I always kind of imagine you like a duck on the water, like everything looks really
100%.
peaceful on the surface,
Absolutely.
and like
Those little
below
legs
the surface you got
underwater
those
are
little
like
legs going away. Yeah, like I just so talk to us about your little legs below the
Yeah.
surface.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the inner peace that I've been building, that I've been working towards, um, is what has been causing those legs to kick so hard,
Yeah,
uh, in directions where I'm heading towards that peace, not necessarily running away from anything else, but I'm heading towards the peace, um, because that's where my focus is, right?
yeah,
And that all comes back to what it is that we want to see, how it is that let me walk this back. For me, in college, there was a moment of time within my college experience where it felt like everybody else knew what was going on with their life, and I had no clue what I wanted to do. And I was honest with my advisors about, I don't know what I want to major in. I have no clue what I want to do with my life. And they were like, you don't have to figure it out now. And I'm like, well, I
yeah.
kind of do because I have to pick a major. And they're like, well,
At
what do
some
you,
point, they're gonna like I'm gonna have to figure out how to
I
either
got
pay
it.
for this forever, or I'm
Right.
gonna have to stop.
Right. Yeah. So their conversation to me and my mom's conversation with me, and believe it or not, Oprah's conversation with the world that I just so happened to watch, was that you get the opportunity to create the life that you want to live. And this
Yeah,
idea, this concept kept getting drummed into my head at the moment that I needed it the most. And it's the truth, right? Even with things about to change in Washington, that may or may not have a trickle down effect on us. They probably will. But even as that trickle down effect comes, I can be frustrated with that. But in my day to day, what do I want that to look like? What do I want my community to look like? How do I build that for me and with the people that I love and care about? We have the opportunity to create that even within the so-called constraints that they have. And there will probably be some legal constraints that come down as a result of all of these changes that are probably going to happen.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, we are still responsible for how we show up in the world. And if we want to live in a world that's peaceful, then we have a responsibility to ourselves to create a space of peace. And so that's what I'm working towards in my life. And that's, for me, it's figuring out what I want and then aligning goals that will help me to get towards that thing that I'm trying to get to. And also, Kiana said, Ducks Unite.
Heck
Yes.
yeah, Ducks Unite. Incidentally, hey Kiana, totally saw that highlight video from the Disabled But Not Really Foundation. Looked fabulous, my darling. It looks like a super fun highlight reel. Thanks for sharing that. All right. So one of the things that, and I think I saw Jenny Garman post something, and I believe I had this conversation with her, but I've had it a couple of times since during office hours. But I think one of the things that I'm trying to get right with in the world, and one of the things that I keep trying to, so I feel like women and gender minorities, like, we always have to learn a lesson and we always have to be moving forward. And I see that there's some value in that, but I wonder, like, I feel like women and gender minorities, we need to get comfortable with quiet and with not stagnation, but stillness. Like, not knowing. Like, sometimes it's okay to just sit and allow the universe and the people around you and your heart and your minds to kind of just sit for a minute, think through things, figure some things out before you start planning or plotting the next action. What do you think?
Yep.
Do you think that? Like, am I crazy?
No, I think in the moments where I have grown the most, there was always a moment of stillness before that and quiet. And it's in that stillness and in that quiet that I always hear what my next steps are.
Yeah. But you have to leave space to listen. You're excellent at that. That's not my strong suit.
Yet, it's not your strong suit.
She's
yet.
like, yeah, it's true.
Yet, add that.
It's fine.
Yay to creating spaces of peace. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that,
right.
Alicia.
Rest is not a form of weakness. And unfortunately, I do not remember her name. Cynthia, you might remember her name, but there's a personality on social media, and she leads something called the Nap Ministry. And in particular, I believe that she is speaking to women of color, but I follow her and I find a lot of value in the things that she says. And she speaks about rest like it's a revolution. And I just think that that's really beautiful, because the fact of the matter is like, we do not often allow ourselves rest.
Yeah.
And when we fail to do that, I don't think we make good decisions. And so I'd love to point you to the Nap Ministry, but I just
Trisha something with an H.
Yeah, is it okay? I don't.
Hershey.
I don't remember her name.
It's related to
branding
chocolate.
Is the Nap Ministry, so that's what
listen,
I know.
I think it's Trisha Hershey.
Trisha Hershey.
Don't ask me how I got there. Because
Okay.
there's a whole word association thing, but I think that's
you were quiet for a second, and then you let the universe just like.
That's what it is. Yeah. Look, there it is. Hershey. I was
Net
so
Redmond
close.
coming inside with the assist. Thank you, baby.
I
love
it. Yeah, that's beautiful.
All right. So I'm very, very curious, and I'm gonna make this personal to you, Cynthia, because you're our Joy Sherpa. You are kind of Sherpaing us. But let's talk about goals. You know, we're in a time of unrest. There are many people who are uncertain as to what the next steps are, and I mean, to an extent, we can't even really plan because things are kind of unpredictable and up in the air at the moment. How are you viewing working on your intentional goal setting for 2025?
So I've been working through, first of all, let me put an asterisk on this. The way my brain works, I have a hard time using planners and journals separately, because I've always felt like the two should be combined. So last year I created one where I combined and merged the two so that I could have this ongoing sense of what my life looked like, not my life, my business life and my personal life, like what they're all work together. So what does my life look like? And what I found is that I did it for one quarter, and that quarter I was the most productive, and I felt the most steeled within myself, STEE, within myself, right? And then when I wasn't doing it, it was like chaos. It was like chaos. So I have gotten back to the planning for 2025 using the same system, but revamping it. So I have it on my tablet. That's what I was reaching for before. So what I'm focusing on is reflecting on what 2024 was first.
Okay.
And then I'll go to the challenges that I had, the obstacles that I had. Notice there's nothing in there yet because I haven't gotten that far. And then I set goals for different areas. So we're looking at financial goals, we're looking at wellness goals, business goals, for me, writing goals, and then the things that I want to do. So what's going on my bucket list for 2025? So that's how I break down things for me because
Okay.
of how my brain works.
Well, so curious, you find that
Uh-huh.
because like usually like the agendas and the like those are kind of itemized. And so
Mhm.
do you feel like being able to put your own thoughts and your own spin through the journaling, like does it help you kind of integrate it and internalize it?
Yeah, so what I have for for each month, you get to see the month at a snapshot, and I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but
Kind
um,
of.
at the top it says, "This is how I want to feel at the end of this month."
Okay.
Again, because what we think we do. So I want to lead with how I want to feel, so that I'm doing things that allow me to feel that way at the end of the month. Uh, what are my 3 major goals that I want? What are the monthly habits that I want to work on? And then as I go through the weeks, I have the space to write down things that are going on. I have the space to track my goals down at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of each week, I have a reflection piece, right? So I get to reflect on how I feel, how I showed love, what my self care plan was, things I'm grateful for, challenges from the week, eyes on next week, my greatest joy, and 5 good things that happened. And then for those things that I'm tracking for the month, what I get to do by the time I get to the end of the month is to see how well I've done. And if it's something that I want to carry over to the next month, I carry it over to the next month. But that's how my brain works. So I was like,
Yeah.
find
Well, and
something
I
that works for you,
imagine,
but it gives me a good opportunity to break it down step by step in ways that help me get towards the goal.
yeah. Well, and I really like that and I'm going to use a term that I think is like supercharged. So don't
Hmm.
take offense to this, but like, um, I personally, I love failure. Like, I
Hmm.
think that people tend to learn more when they fail than when they
Yep.
succeed. And I find that there's a lot of benefit in that. And part of Innovate Her is kind of putting up some guardrails like, hey, you have space to fail, but you also have a safety net. You also have a
Yeah.
community that you can come to when you need help. And the reason that I love failure, which feels like a ridiculous thing to say, but I
Hmm.
love that you've left yourself space at the end to reflect and contemplate and say, like, hey, I didn't do exactly what I said I was going to do. And then you're giving yourself the option and you're giving yourself the space and the grace, which you love that word. I love that word too. But you're giving yourself the grace to try again and to just say, like, hey, didn't get it
Yeah.
done in November. It was a shit month. So in
Hmm.
December, we're going to try again. Because I sometimes worry, like, with goal setting. So, like, and I do this too. Like, say that I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on a diet. And then it's like, I'll eat one thing. And then I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm going to eat all of the terrible things because as soon as I start
Because we're
again, I'm
here
not.
now.
And it's like, that's not really setting yourself up for
No,
success. Like, really what
it's
you
not.
should do is be like, well, I ate the ding dong and it was delicious.
Hmm.
Now we're gonna try again, kind of deal.
Or what drove me to eat the ding dong in the first place? Was I
Yeah.
stressed out? Maybe I need to pay attention to what I do
Sometimes
when
I
I'm
just
stressed,
really
right?
like ding dongs.
That's okay. I'm just saying. But sometimes there's
Yeah,
something else behind the self-sabotage, so to speak, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I really love, like, I do think that, like, figuring out where you have failed. And I'm going to continue to use this word because I really
Yeah.
want to remember, like, people hate that word and they hate when I use that word. And I don't mean it as a pejorative. I don't mean it as a judgment. Like, I'm just like, we are stating fact. I
Yeah.
failed. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I'm a terrible person. That doesn't mean that I am just bad at everything, that I'm a piece of shit. Like, that's not what that means. It just means that, what is it? There's a saying out there. It's like, I tried 99 ways and then I found 90. I didn't fail 99 times. I found 99 ways that didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of the lens that I'm coming at. But I love that you leave space for that. As you are doing that, like when you're kind of capturing, this is where I was, this is what I've done, this is what I want to do in the future, as you're trying to kind of parse through that, what are you prioritizing for next steps? Like, this is something that I didn't do exactly like I said I would, but then what else? What else are you thinking about?
So what I usually do is to reflect on what happened, like what stopped me from doing those things. And if it's something that's external, is there a way for me to work around the external? Is there a way for me to work with the external and then do some other things differently? Or was that all internal? Was it just that I was off this week? And if it is, okay, but what do I need to do differently? And is this still a priority for me? Because sometimes we think of things as a good goal to have, but it isn't necessarily a priority for us, which is why we don't work towards meeting it. So being honest in that and knowing that it's okay to shift is also okay.
Yeah. Well, so I'm looking at the clock. It is 1:53. We did start 2 minutes late. That was our bad. We got distracted.
We did.
we were talking about fun stuff. But I'm going to ask you for two things. Number one, friends, when Cynthia answers my next question, please be sure to put your questions, your thoughts, your comments, put them out there. We want to see them. We want to share them up on the screen. But right now, you have an expert who is gloriously giving of her wisdom and her time. Let's use Cynthia as a resource. Let's use her. She said it's okay, guys.
I did. It's okay.
You did. So make sure, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Like, you've been sharing throughout, and I love that, but keep it coming. So the question that I have for you, for someone who might be a little bit new to intentional, joyful goal setting, the really, really integrated type that Cynthia Fails does so gloriously well, what is your advice to them? Like, where can they start? What are some best practices? What are you going to tell them?
Start with one thing. Yeah. So because I've been doing this regularly, like I'll track 3 or 4 things at a time for myself because I'm in the habit of doing this regularly. When you're just starting out, start with one thing and make sure that it's something that feels like you can actually achieve. So maybe it's a stretch for you, but it's something that you can actually achieve, right? And then break that down into not only steps that can help you to reach it, but also people and resources that can help you as well, because you don't have to do it by yourself.
Well, and piggybacking on that one thing, and this is a very psychological thing. This is something that you pick up in rehab. You've probably heard of it if you've heard of 12-step programs, but you don't promise forever. You promise today. And so that one thing, it's, you know how like when in the kitchen, like you're like, my kitchen is a mess and I don't want to deal with it. And it just feels so overwhelming. Like, but it's easy enough to put a dish in the dishwasher. Like, if you can get that one thing and if you can, and if you can figure out, like, it makes the next step so much easier, right? Like, you have the blueprints in order to move forward and to do that again and again and again at scale, right? So I love that. I see that Kiana is going to practice letting herself fail, which makes me very, very happy. I wish you all the failure in the world, Kiana. Actually, that's not even true. I wish you all the success in the world. I wish you comfort with failure, because failure in and of itself is not a bad thing. How's that?
She also pulled a quote straight from you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Like, when I got married, I wouldn't even let the guy who married us put forever in the vows. I'm like, I don't really believe in forever, but I believe that I can show up today with deep intention and deep love. And if I do enough of that, and if I do it day after day after day, it turns into forever. right?
Mm-hmm.
And like my husband is aware of that, and we've been married for 13 years, so it's going pretty well so far. Yeah. Anyway, so what else you got? What else do we need to impart?
I don't know. Here we got a comment from Alicia. She said she's assisting with a campaign for funding a youth step team hosting an HBCU event in March. Ooh, what advice do you have to best tell the story? Oh my
Cynthia's a phenomenal storyteller.
gosh. You know who else is?
Shh, don't tell anybody.
There's quite a few people that are watching that are as well.
That's
So I
true.
would
We've
love
got
to hear.
Max. Max
Uh-huh.
loves to storytell.
Yep. Kiana's really good at it as well.
That's right.
So I'd love to hear their thoughts on the answer to this as well. But I will say, um, if you can focus on some of the intangible things that they'll get as a result of traveling, that's a good way to pull people in, right? They're going to this thing, but they're not just going to this thing. What are they going to get as a result of going to this thing?
Yeah, I think
How will they grow?
in
What opportunity?
human-centered design, it always comes back to the person. It always comes
Mhm.
back to the individual that you're trying to serve, and I think that that's where the most impactful stories come from.
Yeah,
So I mean, what are they going to learn? Who are they going to meet? What opportunities and doors will be opened to them as a result of
yeah,
this trip, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Alicia, incidentally, happy to help, babe. We owe you like $1 million, so happy to help. Okay.
Here's an answer. Allow the community to tell the story, get snippets from various students, gain insight from students that can't see their future and ones that are actively planning. I love
Bree, I don't know if we know each other yet, but I enjoy you. You're
Yeah,
fun. Thanks.
that's awesome.
Alicia's
That's
like, yes,
awesome.
I got it.
Uh-huh. Antoinette, what'd you say? Oh, I will drop a link.
Excellent. We actually I think Max hey Max, if you're still watching, let us know what link did you want? You asked about a link earlier and I wasn't sure which one you were referring to. They said drop the link and I was like, I don't know what link.
Could
Anyway,
have been the same thing.
probably.
Who knows?
Also, and this is absolutely an innovator plug, but Crystal Hamilton with Pretty Planner Company is one of our members. A good place to look for planning tactical stuff, and they have all kinds
Yeah.
of options for. There is North Star Studio which is Sarah Johns, and don't tell anybody, but I can't remember the name of her co-founder. But they have a planner that is for individuals who are neurodivergent, folks who have ADHD or just
That's
a little
awesome.
neurospicy. So a North Star Studio, I believe it's what it's called. And I think May also has a neurodivergent focused planner.
I feel like we should create a post about that and
I
let
feel
people
like we
drop their
probably
links in there. Yeah.
that would be a very smart thing to do.
This sounds like an opportunity for people to find what works best for them. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, we always put a planner in the gift guide, which incidentally, the gift guide is coming. Yeah, it's coming.
It's a last minute gift guide.
I'm gonna tell our public the same thing that I told
Double
folks
entendre.
at AW. Lauren's gonna pull it off. It's gonna be awesome. Everything is going to be late. Promise. 100%. Let us just set that expectation now.
There we go.
So, anyway,
Yep.
but it's gonna be great if you can just be patient.
It's a last minute. I'm saying last minute gift guide.
Yeah, there you go. I will share the link to the gift guide when it's available.
When it's ready.
I didn't know. I was showing it, like Cynthia was like, hey, why do you feel overwhelmed right now? Because this is literally all of the stuff that I have to do for school over the course of the next week. And that doesn't even count the stuff that I've already gotten done. So I'm dying a little, but like in a really fulfilled kind of way.
My goodness.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect for the holidays and New Year. Okay. Everybody wants the planner.
Mm-hmm.
You're so great.
Or a planner. Or a planner.
Everybody wants a little piece of Cynthia Fails. What's that like?
I don't know. Just a planner. Just a planner.
Well, all right,
Something to help them to get organized, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So it is 2:02, and we are officially like the 2 minutes that we were late, we have now made up for.
Okay.
I do want to let everybody know that we have a couple of IHKC events coming up. Most notably, we've got one on the 12th. Hold on, I got to take off my sunglasses to look at this calendar. But we're going to be looking at holiday lights Thursday evening. I believe that'll be fun. I'm going to bring some hot chocolate and it'll be good. But you can find that information on our Facebook page. I have posted it on our calendar, but I have not posted it on social yet. But our upcoming monthly meetup is going to be at Cafe Cafe. For those of you who don't know, they were one of the Jackie Wynn is one of our members. Cafe Cafe was actually one of the victims of that spate of smash and grabs and vandalism and all of this crazy stuff that's happening around the city. So we're going to go and we're going to cash mob them a little bit. And, you know, because they have excellent coffee and it's fun for us. But first Tuesday of the month is our monthly meetup at Cafe Cafe. And I'm trying to think if there's any other events that we have coming up. Can't think of any off the top of my head. So that's what we've got coming up right now. And the gift guide, which I will be, you will know when it is released. You will see it everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting, Cynthia?
Just a question for you. What do you want at the end of 2025? What do you want to feel?
I want, at the end of 2025, I think I want to feel stable, which doesn't feel like me. Like that's not really it. Like, but I think it's the thing that's been missing. Like, I'm fairly. I love my job. I love my family. Like, I'm a very, very, very lucky human being. There are many, many things that I like about myself and my work and my community. But what I don't have a lot of is surety about my life. Like, am I going to be able to stay in the house this month? What are you going to do with your life? What happens to Innovate Her if you're not around? Like, again, like ambiguity, not my favorite place to live. And I think that some of that comes from like, I'm just like, it's the startup life. Like, I'm just constantly being like pulled and ripped. And I don't know. So I feel like stability, which feels weird and fucked to say out loud because I'm like, that's never anything that I've really cared about wanting. But I'm like, I'm going to be 42 years old. Maybe it's time. Let's give it a shot. See how it goes. How about you?
I don't know. It's funny. I ask you that question. I don't have the answer myself. I'm working on it.
We do actually have to go back to the quirky question.
I'm working on it.
I have no better answer.
Comments, just in the comments for that. I'll work on that. I'll throw both of those answers in.
All right.
In the comments.
So I'm going to throw something out there, and we don't typically do this, but one of the things that we would love to hear from you, and I can see that some of y'all are still watching. One of the things what would you like to hear about for future IHKC lives? Like, feel free to pop a comment in. Yeah, the I thing is happening again. But yeah, let us know what you want to talk about. You know, we've got Black History Month coming up. We have apparently February is Women in Sports Month. Women's History Month, of course, is kind of a big deal around here. But what topics? What do you want to hear for IHKC Live? Who do you want to talk to? I feel like one of the coolest things about Alicia's session for GEW is the conversation that we thought we were going to have is not the conversation that we ended up having. And so I feel like we need to bring Alicia on to do like a very tactical, like HR conversation because people were fascinated by that. And I was like, I did not expect that. So like that's an idea.
You're open to the pivot though. Yeah,
for sure. You got to stay receptive, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those in the comments. We'd love to see those.
All right, friends. Well, I'm gonna We all have jobs. We all have lives. But we adore you. We are so glad that you decided to sit with us and take this time and talk about setting goals. And anytime you get to talk to the Joy Sherpa, it's a good Tuesday. So, yeah, just reach out, let us know. Feel free to comment if you have any ideas, and we will catch you next time. Cynthia, you want to take us home? She does it so well. I think you do. She always wants to make me do it, and I don't want to do it.
It's the last time for 2024. Come on, Lauren,
so
you got it.
bad at it though, because I always forget something. All right, hold on.
You got it.
If you liked what you saw here and heard here, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. What is the one I'm forgetting? Cynthia.
Share it with somebody that you know.
There you go. Share
would
it.
appreciate the content.
Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm gonna have to come up with like some kind of mnemonic device to remember this because I always forget. But please make sure to share. And incidentally, if you're not a member of the Facebook community, we would certainly love to have you. Feel free to invite your friends. We grow pretty fast, but we love welcoming new individuals into our little happy home, our digital home.
Absolutely.
All right.
Cool. Well, I am excited to see more of how people have started to plan for 2025. And we wish you all very, very happy holiday season, and we'll see you next year.
Wait.